You're listening to Lore Friendly with Kris Takahashi and Alice Bell.
Hi! I'm not dying this week because I
Oh,
didn't go to the gym tonight, which is
nice.
great.
Good for you for not exercising and taking care of your health.
I was taking care of my health.
Living a long life is overrated, though, I would say.
Yeah. I'm getting my cardiovascular fitness in running up and down the library stairs at the minute. I have so many books that I'm just carrying on my back. Like, every time that I walk up the stairs is like squats day.
Oh, nice.
Like, I have got some killer glutes right now. I don't need to go to the gym. My workout is carrying loads of heavy ancient textbooks up and down the stairs because that's my life right now. Kill me.
Yeah, it does make more sense to actually get exercise out of your job. Like in the old days, that's how they would stay fit, is they would just do like manual labor and farm work. And then nowadays, it's like we just push buttons at work and then we go to the gym and then run like on a treadmill and going nowhere for like an hour. Or lift weights for no reason.
That sounds like my life. That's like just a metaphor for modern life. You're just on a treadmill and you're not really going anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's a bleak start to the show.
Usually the treadmill is on an incline and you're kind of gradually sinking into a pit of despair.
What kind of incline are you on? Do you have like a reverse, like down kind of incline on your... That'd be a decline, wouldn't it?
Yes.
If you're going... Yeah. It's been a long week, Kris. I'm tired.
By the way, speaking of things that are tired or retired.
I like how you were trying to do a transition there.
Yeah, he wasn't tired or anything. He was just useless. And so I kind of shut down Takahashi from the Discord. I don't know if anybody noticed.
Why?
It was just a waste of electricity. Nobody was using it, so.
That's fair. Apart from us.
Yeah.
Well, apart from you.
The other robot is still there, though. Tatsumaki.
Yay!
The one that
Tatsumaki
levels
is the
you up.
superior bot.
Because it doesn't cost any of my electricity to run, more or less, so.
Yeah, it's... Tatsumaki's run off a server, isn't she?
Yeah, well, somebody else's computer is on all the time,
Yeah.
so.
Not yours, which is the important thing.
Yeah. But the downside of that is you can't customize her. You got to take what you get. Is that the right phrase? I'm not even...
Yeah.
Yeah. I was right the first time.
Sorry, I'm sniffly.
You have a cold.
I'm always cold. I was sat in bed the other day, so I was wearing 2 sports bras, a top, a hoodie, a onesie, my dressing gown, a blanket, and then I was wrapped up in bed and I was still freezing. Like, as in, my breath was actually fogging up.
You just need more blankets, I'd assume. You just got to get that whole blanket burrito thing going where you have, like, multiple layers.
Multiple burritos.
You're just warmed by your own body heat.
I am the delicious filling.
No. But then the thing is, you would never want to leave. Like, when you wake up, you're just, like, in that burrito. You're in your cocoon, and the last thing you want to do is leave it. And that's the problem. Because it gets really cold in the morning, especially.
Alas, I do not have time in my life to be a burrito in the morning. It's very upsetting.
You're a frozen burrito. Those are the worst.
Yeah.
Those don't even taste
I'm
good.
a frozen burrito. I've never had I have had a burrito. I have never finished a burrito. I had like 5 bites of it and then I was bored of it.
You don't have Mexican food up there?
Yeah, we do. It's just that I don't have it very often.
I imagine there's not a lot of Hispanics up there, are there? Demographic-wise. Because it's just really far
there's
away.
not. No. I mean, you're right. It is really far away. There's like a whole ocean.
Like here, I could drive 20 minutes down Santa Ana or someplace, and you won't even hear any English. It'll just be nothing but Spanish. So it's a little bit different. I can get
Really?
good Mexican food whenever I want. So that is the advantage.
We have Taco Bell.
We're just a superior country. We're a melting pot. No matter what our president likes to say.
Yeah. Something shithole countries. What?
Are we going to be able to use any of this podcast? Should we talk about like podcast things?
Yeah, give me a second. I can feel a hiccup coming up a sec.
So speaking of Discord
Yeah.
stuff, a couple of the people on our channel,
Wonderful people on our Discord channel are taking advantage of the fact that they have a direct line to the hosts of this illustrious show.
yes,
And we're just like, shameless self-promotion, guys.
they are basically mod authors who have mentioned mods on the channel,
Yes, these are meds that they mentioned. Fuck's
and we are
sake.
featuring this week.
And we are featuring this week because it's saving me from doing any research. So thanks, guys. Thanks for contributing to the show.
This is a Fallout 3 mod.
Yeah.
No
Going
line
old
intro
school.
narration. No judgmental ending slides. Interesting.
Basically, it stops the game from being a dick to you.
It's voiced by Will Hanford, who voiced some stuff for interesting NPCs and Tales. And the music is done by Anna Kate. I'm not familiar with Anna Kate, but I'm sure she is a wonderful person, or a wonderful two people who have fused together to form Anna Kate.
Like a mutant. I'm sorry, Anna Kate, you're probably not a mutant.
Kind of like DBZ. It's like Dragon
Yeah.
Ball. They do that little dance, and then they fuse. And then it's Anna Kate, yeah. Or
That's
they could do
literally the only thing I know about Dragon Ball Z.
and then they could do a different dance, and then they could fuse as Kate Anna. And then they
Oh
make
my
different
God.
music.
The possibilities are endless. The music's just in reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, basically it rewrites the opening and endings of Fallout 3 because sometimes it can be a little bit judgmental, and no one wants people being judgmental on your ass in a video game.
No,
Unless it's
nobody
Undertale.
does.
Unless it's Undertale, then I feel like it's warranted.
Yeah, especially after you just kind of saved the wasteland. I guess it would be kind of annoying if after all that work, someone was like a little bit ungrateful, you know? Like,
By the way, you didn't commit suicide,
yeah,
so you're a dick.
that's right.
That
Even
should
though-
be the
Even
rewrite.
though you have like a fucking mutant or ghoul
Yeah.
companion that could go into the little stall and not die.
He's like, no, it's destiny. Like, mate, no. No, you are literally immune, mate. Sort it out.
It's not gonna hurt at all. It'll like be like a bee sting. It'll be really short
No,
and quick.
it's fate. No,
It'd probably
this is
heal them
fate.
actually. It'll be like a nice spa. It'll be like a relaxing.
It'd be so fucking chill.
Yeah.
God damn it. Damn it, Fallout 3, you're trying to push this fucking narrative on us and shit.
Yeah, they wanted to make that really cool kind of sacrificial ending where the hero dies and it's really sad. But then like they also wanted to have ghoul and mutant companions and then the whole thing kind of, I mean, they've made up for it in Broken Steel, right? You can,
You kind of just pick up where you left off, don't you?
yeah, you can send the mutant or the ghoul into the chamber, but then the narrator does kind of shame you
Be a dick.
for not being a real hero and dying.
For not dying for the goddamn cause that you don't have to die for.
In fairness, you know why that's like the ending kind of shames you like that? Is because they couldn't have Ron Perlman. Is it Ron Perlman? Who does the narration? Whoever it was, they couldn't get him to redo the lines. They just picked the bad ending and then they just spliced it in. Because the bad ending is when you let Sarah Lyons die on your behalf, right? And so then you kind of deserve to be shamed.
Yeah.
They used that same voiceover in Broken
Oh.
Steel. So that's why you still get shamed even though
What the shit?
nobody died. They gotta
the
save that
fuck?
money. They couldn't get the voiceover done.
Damn it, Bethesda, cutting corners every which way.
Yeah.
You silly sausages.
Point is, this mod fixes that.
Yes. So, well done, Vegas Wanderer, for taking advantage of the nepotism that you get access to by being a loyal member of the Discord. And now we are going to move on to Dave the Shooter's mod, aka Freeman 1972, because I can't pronounce things. It's a mod about Burns Night. So,
Burns Night? What is Burns Night?
Robert Burns was a Scottish poet. I believe he was at one point a poet laureate, which is a big deal over here. And basically Burns Night is a Scottish night that celebrates Robert Burns. He was a pretty cool guy. He wrote loads of fucking poetry. He's turned up in one of my essays this term. So fuck that.
Oh, is he the keep calm guy? Because there's a sign that says keep calm and drink whiskey.
No, he's the I think he did Old Lang Syne. You know,
oh, really?
Old acquaintance be forgot. Da, da,
the song that nobody knows the lyrics to is just Old Lang Syne.
That's the one.
There's also a haggis recipe. It says.
Yeah.
What is haggis?
Haggis is I believe it's oats and offal and veg shoved inside a sheep's stomach.
Oh, so it's kind of like a Scottish burrito.
Beautiful. I've actually had haggis before. It was not to my tastes. We used to, when I used to work in a pub, we used to do a thing for Burns Night where people could have like a Scottish themed dinner. It was actually really fun. And we got lots of tips. It was great.
What an incredible story, Alice.
What can I say? I'm fucking full of them.
What a rip-roaring tale that was.
But yeah, so this is a celebration for Burns Night. Go and read some of Robert Burns' poetry.
Learn a little bit about Scottish history. It's a very educational mod.
Yeah, and 100% historically accurate.
Teachers out there could use this mod and not have to teach their kids because they could just have them play the mod. Save them a lot of grief and interaction with children.
He totally name dropped us in the description, right down at the bottom.
Oh, nice.
Totally
nice.
Name dropped us. Is this law friendly? It's not like we picked a really generic phrase. Thanks for the name drop.
Oh, it was an accidental name. I thought you meant he actually name dropped. I was like, oh, that was nice of him.
Nah. But I'm gonna take it. Thanks,
Yeah.
man. So go check out that. We'll put the links in the description as we always do.
Yeah, nice.
Woo! Sorry,
Speaking
I'm feeling a bit
Oh, no,
wappy.
it's alright. Speaking of mods, the first episode of season 4 Black Mirror had a mod in it.
Yes. Honestly, one of my favorite episodes of Black Mirror.
Really?
Yeah.
I have not seen many episodes. I've watched season 1. I've never gotten around to season 2, so then
You've seen the pig.
yeah, this is the first episode outside of season 1 I've watched. But it was cool. It was like, well, it wasn't cool, but it was somewhat related to games and mods, so I thought maybe it'd be an okay thing to cover. I mean,
Yeah. It was and actually kind of appropriate considering that Star Trek Discovery has also come back recently.
Oh, that's true, and that we're covering it. Yeah, it starts off as a bit of a parody of Star Trek.
And then it just gets darker and
Yeah, it just gets gradually worse and worse and worse. Like, you think at the start it might be okay. Like, you start off in this Star Trek world, and then you find out that it's just a video game. It's not actually a world. And then you're like, okay, cool, it's just a video game, whatever. It's just this guy living off his, like, whatever, wish fulfillment fantasy. And then you find out that the NPCs in the world are actually sentient beings that he's cloned from his workplace. So.
Yes, it's kind of got basis in what do you call it? In a season 2 episode, they introduce this thing called cookies, which basically takes someone's consciousness and puts it into a device and uses it as a form of control and stuff, kind of like Google Home, but with yourself.
And that's the thing. The thing is that they're sentient. They're people.
Yeah.
You know, like I fucking kill NPCs all the time, and I put
Yeah.
them through torturous hells in my mod. But they're not actually a living being, so it's a little
Are
bit
they,
different.
Kris? How do you know?
Yeah. People kill Nazim all the time,
Yeah.
but Nazim isn't real. Thank God.
I've met people like Nazim.
Did you want to kill them? Did you want to put them into a video game and chop them up?
Yes. No, I'm not that violent.
Yeah, me neither.
I feel guilty about killing people in video games.
That's true. Most of us do. Like, I don't actually kill Nazim. I let him live and be haughty.
To annoy you another day.
He doesn't really annoy me all that much. I don't know. He's just there.
Fair.
He's just a joke at this point.
But yeah, so, yeah, it's basically a loving homage to 60s Star Trek and video games. And basically the plot is that this guy is a major lead programmer. He's completely revolutionary in his VR tech kind of thing. And yet his friend, his business partners, managed to take all the credit and most of the profit from it.
Yeah, it's a Jobs-Woz kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
It's like those archetypes. You got the
Yeah.
Jobs, the slick guy, the guy who's selling the thing and taking all the credit. You got Woz, like the kind of the brains, the engineer who puts things together and is probably is like a genius in a different way, but it's not as recognized, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because of his like social failings.
Yeah, and he basically, it starts out as, oh, it's a mod. Okay, that's fun. And then you start to recognize people from The Office in his game, because you're introduced to the mod first and then you're introduced to his actual real life. Which, fantastic opening, by the way. The fact that it opens up in like the old school resolution and then widens up into, like, it was very confusing. I thought that I'd clicked on the wrong show.
At first it's just funny because it's so fucking over the top, but then when you realize that they're real people, it starts being not funny.
Yeah.
Like when he leans over and kisses them, the first time I saw it was funny, then the second time it's just
It gets real fucking dark.
It gets creepy as hell. Yeah. It is weird that they picked Star Trek though to kind of lampoon, because Star Trek was, even though it does fall like victim to all these like certain tropes, like, you know, like Captain Kirk is
It was
this kind of,
very-
like, white savior. It was very progressive for his time.
Yeah. I think it's more of a lampooning of the type of fan that traditional Star Trek could attract. Like, a lot of people
Yeah.
who initially got into Star Trek, not having a go at Star Trek fans or anything like that, but every fandom's got them, and the Star Trek fandom was...
Yeah, have you seen that Futurama episode where there's like an alien blob and he captures like the original cast of Star Trek and forces them to kind of recreate episodes with him?
No?
He's like a super fan. Yeah, it's basically the same plot, only it was done before this episode. But
yeah, I basically read it as less of a critique of Star Trek and more of a critique of the kind of fans who weren't observant enough to get the progressive messages that were an intrinsic part of Star Trek.
yeah.
Saying this as someone who hasn't actually watched Star Trek, so I don't actually know. The only thing that I've watched is a couple of compilations
No, I mean,
of Patrick Stewart
if it
dancing
came
around.
out today, it definitely would not be considered progressive. It's just at the time, it's like it was like a big
Yeah.
deal to have this like multiracial cast and all that, and have these sort of themes of equality and everybody getting along. And you know, it is just something that I guess maybe it was born out of the 60s or that time when, you know, that generation was like fighting injustice in real life. And so
Yeah.
there's kind of a mirror there. So I mean, it, like, you know, today we're like dealing with a different kind of injustice, and so, and this is kind of like, you know, critiquing that. I mean, you have this guy who's he's kind of like a modern gamer in that he's like really big on like wish fulfillment, and like I don't think that's a bad thing in terms of a game mechanic, having some sort of escapism or wish fulfillment for people who are like not empowered to feel empowered.
Yeah.
But in this case, none of the status he has is earned. It's coerced, forcibly. And so, like, in a normal wish fulfillment game, you get this godlike status, but it's earned through experience. It's earned through gaining the trust of NPCs and gaining friendship and saving the world, more or less, a lot of times. But in this case, there's none of that. He just skips right to the end. He skips to this godlike status, and he does it like at the point of a gun. Only his gun isn't an actual gun; it's a mod.
It's basically a critique of mods, isn't it?
Yeah, and
it's not a critique of gaming. It's a critique of mods. It's critiquing you. You specifically, Kris.
Yeah.
You.
In fairness, my mods, you still have to, like, earn your experience or earn your companion.
Your mods are fucking hard.
They're not, like,
right?
Wish fulfillment
okay.
mods. So.
Okay, so you know that quest that you've got in Interesting NPCs? Where you've got...
Which one?
The one where you've got the mercenaries named after the Game of Thrones siblings.
Oh, that was like one of the first quest that I ever made. Yeah,
they're fucking really hard. They're hard to kill. I had like an uber powerful character, and Jesus Christ.
Does that even count as a quest? I mean, it was more of just learning how to use the fucking quest system.
Well,
I don't even count that one.
Well, I mean, it was difficult, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. It was a difficult fucking quest.
Difficult on a technical scale. Yeah.
Difficult on a fucking beating people up scale.
I think the later quests, after I learned how to mod better, are more difficult on a emotional or morality scale.
Yeah.
Which I was trying to strive for. This one was a
this
simple
one was just
quest.
Hard. You just bumped their stats up
just
way
a bunch
too high,
of dudes
Kris.
with way high stats, yeah.
It was upsetting.
Please send your critiques to 3dsnpc.com.
Don't bring it to the Discord, guys.
Do not spam me with your criticisms. I do not want to hear them.
Or just tell me the criticisms directly and I will relay them to you for $1 a month on Patreon. What?
But yeah, we do have our NPCs go through trials and tribulations, but it's more about the characters and them growing, and they're put in situations where you can help them persevere, you can learn something about yourself. It's never something where you're just modding to make yourself awesome and make yourself a god, and that kind of desire, that kind of gameplay is just kind of, it's weird. I don't know, it's a problem.
It's not a gameplay style that I enjoy.
Yeah, that people like who play games to kind of, I mean, like I said, it's fine to play games to feel empowered. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when you're doing it like in the way this guy was doing it, it's not healthy. Not to mention that he was like actually torturing real people. It's kind of,
yeah, that's kind of not cool. If you had that technology for your modding, would you try and replicate me and put me in a video game to torture me?
Sure, why not?
God damn it!
No, but see, here's my question. Why couldn't he just make NPCs? Like, why did he have to, like, he could have, because he could change the shape of people, right? He could turn them into bugs, right? We found that out, right? Which look suspiciously like the bugs in Mass Effect. What are the bugs called? I forget what the race they were.
I've never played Mass Effect, Kris.
Okay, well, they look like Mass Effect bugs. But if he could do that, if he could shapeshift them, couldn't he just make a bunch of NPCs and pattern them after the people in his workplace? So he doesn't have to rule them with fear and torture?
I think it's basically, you know how people will create sims of people that they know and that they like, and then what they'll do is they'll make a little house and then they'll motherload it a load of times and they'll just live out their dream fantasy life with their crush or whatever.
Right, and that's fine.
He was basically doing that, but with... Plus, there's the fact that there was an aspect of him that knew that he was torturing the people who had wronged him.
Yeah.
It's basically Sims to the next level.
I suppose had he created NPCs that weren't real and try to imbue them with, like, the personalities of his coworkers, like, hire a writer or something, have him write lines and stuff, and they would probably be more willing to go along, or they'd be programmed to go along with his adventures, but they probably wouldn't feel real, or he wouldn't get that same
reaction.
Or he wouldn't get the sick joy he gets from torturing them, I guess, if they weren't really them. I don't know. I mean, because he was pretty fucked up. Like, he killed the guy's kid and everything. It was just really, he was over the line.
I think there was that inherent level of detachment that you have, like when you create a sim. Like, you can drown a kid in a pool and it's fine, kind of thing. It's that kind of detachment. I don't think he saw them as real people. At the end of the day, he was like a god in that world, which is why he obviously didn't. He didn't shut down his game from running when he was out the house. Like, he just didn't comprehend that they could find a way to outsmart him.
That's true. He probably didn't see them as people, which is something that I guess a lot of people, like, I mean, rightfully in our case, but I guess a lot of people don't see NPCs as real people, so they kind of, like, it's okay to, like, do whatever. When you shut off your game, they're not going to exist anymore, so.
I don't know, so on Sims 2, me and my friend made literally a murder house. We just murdered, like, as many families as we could. And it got to the point where there were so many ghosts in the house that it kept on crashing the computer and blue screening it. So I think they existed.
God forbid they don't ever try to trap you inside their haunted house of all your murder victims. Jeez. And you were chiding me for what I do with my NPCs, giving them a strong narrative arc. How dare you torture them with adventure and fun?
That we just like the most messed up faces we could do. So we just had a load of messed up ghosts walking around.
Here you are murdering NPCs for no reason at all. And you're giving me shit. You're giving me shit for providing my NPCs with adventure and fun. Most of them got adventure. Some of them.
I was a messed up kid, okay? I still kind of am. But I don't murder Sims anymore because that's wrong.
Because you're a grown up now. You've moved past that stage. I'm sure all the dead bodies you've left in your wake are happy to hear that you've moved on. Yeah, I'm sure all the ghosts of Alice's past are more than thrilled that you've made this next step.
That's probably why I can't sleep at night. Honestly, like, I have like, you know when you're tired and you kind of wake up and you're kind of groggy and you're still kind of like dreaming? I get that all the time. So, like, I'll wake up, and I have some weird shadows in my room, so I keep on thinking that there's demons in my room, and it's probably the ghosts of Sims past haunting me.
Probably is. So, but yeah, that episode was really brilliant. The way it kind of just gradually transitioned darker and darker and darker until, like, you went from sympathizing and empathizing with this character to kind of just, like, realizing he was, like, a really fucked up creep. So
I guess you could say that he looked into a black mirror.
But
I'm so fucking clever.
So what do you think happened to those people?
They got blown up by Aaron Paul. He totally, like, caught them up and he was like, these fucking noobs, and then he blasted them, and then they're dead.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
I thought they escaped. I thought it was a happy ending. They went off and
He totally went and chased after them.
Demanded some meth from them. Demanded they buy his meth that he cooked with his friend.
Mr. White! Mr. White! Oh man, I miss Breaking Bad. It was a good show.
This episode had 2 Breaking Bad characters. Like, Jesse Plemons was in Breaking Bad as well, the captain.
Yeah.
He plays the same guy more or less in every show. Just this creep guy who has trouble, like, connecting with people on a social level.
Only this one was more of a terrifying homicidal maniac. Well, not homicidal, because he didn't actually kill anyone.
The last one killed a kid too, I think. in Breaking Bad. He
Oh,
killed a kid in Breaking
shit!
Bad.
Oh, yeah. No, I've got you. Yeah. I completely forgot which character he played. God damn. What a show. I haven't rewatched season 5 in a while, so.
Speaking of things we need to watch.
So, it was suggested to us in the comments of the last video that, thank you for giving us a suggestion, by the way, audience engagement, down with it.
Yes.
But, it was suggested to us that we watch either Travelers or Magicians, and I had a look, and Magicians isn't on UK Netflix. I got halfway through a documentary about magic before I realised this. It was about this, like, magic house in LA that has magicians in it. And I was like, I can't think why somebody would have wanted us to watch this. And so I don't think it was the show.
No, Magicians is like Harry Potter in college. That's what it is, more or less. So if it's not that, if you start seeing like fucking David Copperfield on your screen, you're watching the wrong thing.
But yeah, so I don't think
if you're
that
watching
Magicians
David Blaine drown himself, you're watching the wrong thing.
That documentary is on Netflix, funnily enough. I also found that out. But yeah, so Magicians doesn't appear to be on UK Netflix. So I decided, because for some reason I put myself in charge, watching Travelers. I am 2 episodes in and I'm enjoying it, so I would love to do some recap type
we gotta
reviewy
catch up
stuff
though.
of it. Yeah, we're like way behind.
Yeah.
But I'm
so
really
let me know
enjoying
when
what
you
I see
catch
so
up.
far. Yeah.
So I could binge watch it.
So that is something that we are putting on the to discuss pile.
Yes.
So we have to catch up first. Because I am also trying to catch up with Vikings.
Yeah. I like because we have so few commenters and listeners that you can basically just be the only person who runs the show if you manage to comment first.
Yeah. You are literally in charge of us. You can boss around, you can do whatever you want to us. Don't do whatever you want to us. That's not an invitation.
See, if we had like thousands of commenters, it would be harder to kind of parse. Like, we'd have to start a poll or something, right? But because we only have a few, like, if you're one of those few people, you can literally dictate the direction of the show, what you want us to watch. You could just force us to watch just the most inane crap on TV.
You can force us to watch the Magic House documentary that I stumbled upon. We should do, like, just a couple of weeks in April where we just watch the shittest stuff we can possibly find on Netflix.
No.
To be fair, at some point I want us to talk about the Cluedo movie with Tim Curry in it, because that is fucking fabulous.
No.
It is the best fucking film that I have seen in years. It is fantastic. I love it.
All right, well, we'll see.
I'll hopefully be a lot more chipper next week, because I'll have 3 of my essays handed in. Yeah! And I won't have spent all day in the library, which would be really nice.
All right, I think that covers it for this section.
Yeah, we've somehow managed to shove something out of our arse. Happy New Year, bye guys.
And back again to talk about Star Trek Discovery this week is Unoctium. So what'd you think of this episode?
I thought it was good. I liked it. I really liked it.
I'm the opposite this week. I thought
really?
it was a little too twist happy. I mean, maybe because you already told me all the twists that were coming, so they didn't have as much punch. I mean, you hit the Falk being Tyler thing, you hit the Emperor being Georgia thing. I don't know what else you said last week, but it all came true. If you have next week's lotto numbers, I would really appreciate it.
All right, okay, I'll get those to you after the podcast. No, I just felt like a competently written episode. Before it was just like the last episode was just focusing on uninteresting things, but I felt like this episode, like the drama was on point, the scenes were on point, like the fact that I was really worried in the preview of last series that they were going to beam down to the rebels and then try and fight some, rebellion, and it would be, as twee as that. But in reality, the rebellion just served as a way of Vok turning.
Yeah.
And there was some twist happening. and I thought that was like
he
really
went
good.
ballistic when he saw his other self.
Yeah, I mean that was just I just love things like that. Like the fact that you just see yourself and you're just like, oh, you're
speaking in a perfect American accent, by the way. He sounded like he was from Portland or something. I was really impressed by that. A Klingon from another.
Yeah, I didn't know Klingons were from Portland. Yeah. No, I enjoyed all the culture because I told you last week that I didn't like any of the fact that there was no culture clashes. I realized that's like a weird thing to ask for in this, but I like the fact that Mirror Universe values and Prime Universe, if you want to call it that, values sort of clashing. And that didn't really happen at all last week.
Yeah, because they were all undercover, whereas in this episode, Burnham was more like she was being her actual true self. So you got that culture clash when she was interacting with the rebels, because it was for the first time she was being herself as opposed to being this other Burnham from the other Mirrorverse, right?
Yeah, and I also complained about the fact that the Imperials never had any sort of leverage over Burnham, and there was plenty of leverage this episode. So I really like that. So, like from her slave, for example, and to the Empress herself. So
yeah, I really thought those interactions were interesting, and it was Burnham again, being her reckless self, kind of trying to take the plans into her own hands, and then having that blow up in her face in a way.
It's a pretty good plan, to be honest. I thought it was going to succeed.
Which is pretty consistent with her character, though, that she's always we talked about her being a Mary Sue, but she always has the right plan. She always tries to execute it flawlessly, but then things always kind of go awry for her, and it doesn't work out quite the way she wanted. So it is kind of consistent with her whole narrative throughout the season. I just thought it was just way too twist happy. It's just like one after the other, and I just felt like I said, maybe it's because I already knew what was going to happen, but it just felt like a little bit campy in that regard.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing I actually quite liked about this episode. It challenged Burnham's Mary Sue-ness. Like, bad things kept happening for her, and she didn't have the ability to overcome them, which I quite liked. Yeah. So, when it came to, Vok basically going to strangle her to death in her quarters, it basically took the Imperials to intervene. Her slave, who she developed a reasonable relationship with earlier in the episode, to actually save her from impending death.
That was a good scene because it showed the value of compassion, because she was sort of drifting toward her Mirrorverse self. She was worried that she was turning more and more dark, and then in the end it wasn't her strength that saved her. Like in the previous episode, it was her strength that saved her, right? And then in this episode, it was actually her compassion. So that was actually kind of a big moment too, I thought.
They also said a lot about that slave's character. The fact that he got treated just a little bit well meant he basically was there to save her in every sense.
Yeah, and going back to what I was talking about last week as well, like how the interactions sort of with the Mirrorverse kind of reflect certain things in the normal universe. So like we were talking about how the slave, Saru, that there's sort of like a friendship built there, and at the same time it's kind of an uneasy friendship because of their different power positions. And it's kind of almost reflective of how her relationship with the real Saru is. There's a little bit of tension, but at the same time, they're deep down, I think they're going to be friends in the end, and they're going to work together, and they're people who can depend on each other. So it is interesting. And then she also showed compassion for the actual Saru by not telling him about his fate in the Mirrorverse. Like, she's like, I've never met a Kelpian here.
I did find that a bit funny because it's like they're military officers. They're meant to basically tell every piece of information, regardless of how painful it might be for someone. Imagine if an actual military worked that way. It's like, oh, I didn't tell you about the oncoming enemy forces because I thought it would hurt your feelings. So I thought that was like getting to the usual Star Trek Discovery thing, but then the episode really picked up for me. So I just definitely like that. And there's also that small, how I hate these 2-second scenes, which basically allude to nothing before you get back to the shitty storylines. But there was that moment where in Stamets' head, he was like walking amongst the mycelium universe or whatever, and he ran into his mirror self who knew exactly who he was.
That was very Bioshock Infinite-like. It's like the Lutece twins.
Yeah. No, but his mirror, that was interesting because you don't know if his mirror self is like generally like an evil prick. Yeah. So, it's that creates a lot of...
And they're going to have to work together in order to get back. So that was kind of interesting. What else happened this episode?
Well, just like the culture, Sarek reading Michael's mind, and basically, I don't think he fully understood he just understood the feelings, but he didn't understand the circumstances.
Yeah, that
of her situation.
that was another thing that's like that I felt was a little bit over the top as far as like, okay, all the important characters are suddenly in the same place. I mean, like Sarek just happens to be Vok main assistant or whatever. It's just it was just a little bit like too many like big names thrown into like one little area. It was a little bit much for me, but
if you're watching another Mirror Universe episode again, you've probably got to get used to that, to the fact that there's going to be like big names all in one place.
Yeah.
Just call it Kismet or something. But I did think the scene would turn out differently than it was, because I thought they were going to read Michael's mind and realize that she was a moon dreamer or whatsoever, and it's like, oh well, we believe you, but now it's time to mind meld with your assistant, and that's the point where they discover it was Vok, and it would be like a kind of Tarantino-esque scene where like you feel like you're all the way out, but then it gets worse, like because of one thing you forget.
Yeah, that he did go a little crazy there when he saw his other self. You would think that they would kind of check, like, hey, maybe we should look into this guy's mind. The guy who just went fucking crazy. Maybe we should give him an examination. But in general, the medical procedures in last night's episodes were pretty lazy, I'd say. There was the spore therapy where they just kind of drowned him in spores, and that was supposed to heal him. They had that defibrillator, like this is like technology from the 1980s, and they're still using it in the future. And there was also that Klingon surgery where they basically just glued the guy's face onto the body.
Just filing everything down as quickly as possible to try and make sure he looks human.
They didn't even use any anesthesia. You might want to. Oh yeah. You might want to have him like not be splashing around while you're trying to perform this complicated surgery.
He might have gone into shock about 12 times, and like bled to death about for 3.
The medical procedures did not impress me. In fairness, Klingons are pretty metal, so I mean, the surgery was kind of on brand.
I mean, like generally those subplots were probably the least interesting. like the whole subplot with Stamets, for example, sort of flailing about, and they just assume that he basically killed the Doctor, where in reality fingerprints are a thing in this universe.
Wouldn't they have like some kind of surveillance? That's the word I'm looking for. And
just like multiple like ways that what's that thing? CSI would have solved
forensic
it like
science
after 3 minutes, but they're just like, oh, obviously Stamets killed us. Obviously.
He did some like rudimentary frame job from what I remember. Like Stamets hold him, and then I think he put blood on the walls or something. I don't know. No,
Stamets just sort of pulled him in and just like, oh, and then there was a weird horror sequence at the beginning where like this woman was walking through dark hallways, kept flashing on and off, and you're like, is she going to get killed? and she did. So, that was quite. I mean, there was a few ways which I felt they could have done better. One was the mind melding Vok in the rebellion camp, and 2, I felt like they should have solved the Vok thing in the ship. Yeah. But it couldn't warn Michael, and then there would be a sort of tension going on.
In general, they were just taking a lot of time to do a lot of things. Like finding the plans of the Defiant took an obscenely long amount of time, when it was initially implied that they would get on the ship and get out, right? And like Lorca's just sitting there getting tortured, just wondering what the hell is going on.
He was in a complete state at the end of the episode. Like he was all dehydrated and shaking and couldn't speak, and basically admitted that his judgment was crippled.
And meanwhile, Burnham's just like whining about her problems when Lorca.
It's like, oh, my boyfriend's a Klingon.
Lorca's like, dude, I've been in the agonizer for like 48 straight hours. Could you hurry up and get along with the mission? But I did find it funny that he kind of evolved into this weird Southern accent toward the end. Which apparently he's had the whole time. I looked it up, and he's supposedly from the South or something.
Oh, did you think he was British throughout the whole series, or
no? I just thought it was like a
mid-Atlantic type.
Yeah. It was just some kind of effect, or some kind of like, whereas he was trying to do an accent, but it didn't really come out all that well. I don't know.
He's a British actor, but he's basically Malfoy. I don't think he can do American accents very well.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, just a bad accent. But apparently he's trying to do a Southern accent. Like, I read that he was even trying to like get a catchphrase, like
really
"get her done."
Right.
was his catchphrase. Fortunately, that's already a catchphrase for Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh,
Get her done. So,
Yeah.
But that was going to be his catchphrase that he wanted to introduce.
maybe he's a kind of malevolent Larry the Cable Guy, I suppose. Yeah, and also, and then at the end of the episode, the Emperor appeared.
Oh, of course.
And I was like, I was worried I was going to be completely wrong about this episode, like I was about every other episode. But in terms of predicting, like I would get everything wrong. But it turns out this was one of the few episodes where I got everything right. And then it was Giorgio, like, because it's like, oh, who's this mysterious emperor? Oh, it's going to be some character moment for the character.
Yeah,
supposedly.
I think it's going to be good interaction wise for Burnham. I don't really see how Giorgio is a Mirrorverse emperor, like how that character would be the same character in the Mirrorverse that becomes an emperor of the Nazis. That would become Giorgio Ren, more or less.
Well, her, like, supposedly she's still the same. She has the same mentor, parental type qualities that she has in this universe as she does in the other universe.
Okay.
But though in another universe, she uses them for good. In this universe, she uses them for evil.
Okay.
So, like, supposedly all the other Imperials are stupid and have no idea what's going on. So when the captain's acting odd and wanting to, always thinking twice about beaming Falk into space, all the other crew are like, "Oh, this is odd behavior. Oh, never mind." I suppose like the Emperor character will be like, "Something's going on. You're not my Michael" type thing. And there'll be that kind of.
Yeah, the one thing you hypothesized last time was that they already had access to the records that would show the other universe existed, right? So they'd be fully aware.
Yeah, though the Empress character would be fully aware of the other universe. Yeah, because I figured that the ship that basically rained down all those photon torpedoes on the planet might have been the Defiant. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually thought that the other Discovery was gonna come, but then it turned out just to be another ship or a ship controlled by the Empire or whatnot. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be the Defiant because that's the whole conceit of this universe. Which is pretty good conceit, to be honest. I did find that she was dressed pretty badly though, like in her Empress uniform. She looked pretty awful.
Yeah, the uniforms look kind of tacky, but I do like the overall cinematography of these like Mirrorverse episodes. It's just very dark and dystopian, so I like all the visual aspects of it. It will be really interesting, going back to the whole Stamets thing, to see how those two interact. What is the other person's motives? The other Stamets' motives? I mean, because we don't know. I mean, hypothetically, they would not be benevolent. They would not be good, but they would also want to get back home. So they also have a mutual goal there, right? Where they both want to flip sides. I don't know. So it'd be interesting.
I mean, there was probably points where I didn't like the first 15 minutes. Like I thought it was going the same place where when Burnham was basically saying, "Oh, the rebellion knows how to form a federation by itself, and if we make peace with the Klingon, he'll tell us how to make peace with the Klingons in our own universe." And I'm like, I went places.
That was incredibly naive.
Yeah, she just basically asked Fox, like, "Tell me about your culture," and he's like, "Well, basically, I'm a institutionalized human Klingon, and I've forgotten my language, so I know nothing about." Klingonanity.
She was almost implying that he should not band together with these other aliens. Like, she's like, "You're a Klingon. Why do you even want to join forces?" Like that's not what you should be like pushing him toward.
I mean, he speaks English as a first language. It's probably evident that the Klingon Empire was, quote unquote, conquered.
He's
or
a
something.
Klingon American. He's a
yeah. He's a Klingon American. Yeah. He's like, "What are you asking me?" He's basically going up to
He grew up on like
some minority
sitcoms and pop music. He doesn't know anything about being a Klingon.
Exactly.
Grew up listening to Taylor Swift, for crying out loud.
He did actually beat his Prime Universe counterpart, but I suppose Falk was made weaker by the human.
All those human fingers and bones and muscles just made him weak.
Yeah. So while I liked the episode, I do feel like whenever the writers get access to Mirror Universe stuff, the drama usually should get better because you've suddenly lost all the moral leashes of your characters, and you can create pretty compelling things. So I don't want to give them their kudos just yet.
We'll see.
Because even like with Enterprise and stuff like that, when the Enterprise was just pretty dour, boring stuff, and then as soon as their Mirror Universe stuff appeared, everything got like so much better. So I mean, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun, right? Making an evil version of the character
yeah.
that you try your hardest to make good.
Oh yeah.
So
What would your Mirrorverse self be doing right now?
Well, I don't know. What would yours be doing?
Mine would probably be making super violent mods with nameless NPCs. Since that would just be on brand in a Terran universe. I mean, in this universe, yeah,
Evil
in this
NPCs.
universe, I make mods that kind of like, or quests that kind of eschew violence, and you have to find other ways to kind of complete them more or less. And then my mirror universe self would probably just be all about blood and guts and gore.
I think my Mirror Self universe would upload mods to Moddrop. So evil.
You're
Just like
basically the
nothing
devil.
can stop me. Mod piracy.
There you go. There you go.
So let's round it up. And what are your predictions or hopes for next week or upcoming?
I think it's gonna be like just Burnham just having her what the fuck face the whole time as she deals with Georgia, because it seems like every time she sees a dead person, she kind of just like freaks out, right? And like has that like look on her face, like what am I gonna do? I mean, is there anything that needs to be done plot wise? They already got the plans of Defiant. They're just gonna research that. Plus, they have Stamets on the inside talking to Mirrorverse Stamets. So plot wise, it's just like a time thing, right? They just need more time to figure it out. Burnham and Lorca, they just need to escape, right?
No, I'm figuring they're going to need the Defiant. Wait, they can't bring the Defiant into the Prime Universe because the Defiant in the Prime Universe in 10 years' time goes through the portal. It might be. They probably can't do that. But I figure
It's just
that
an
they're
undercover
probably
deal,
going
right? They're gonna be in the Emperor's like palace or whatever. Remember we had that episode last week where like Stamets was like, "Don't go in the palace, don't go in the palace," or something like that, right?
Oh, right.
So they're probably it's probably something to do like that. If Giorgio already knows they're from the Mirror Universe, he's probably going to try and trap them in the palace. And it's more of like Lorca and Burnham trying to maintain their cover and trying to escape is what I think is going to happen.
Well, I think there's going to be, it's going to be kind of the inverse from last week, where this week there was the Imperials had there was some implicit knowledge of the other universe. Mm-hmm. Also, the fact that the Imperials weren't as clueless,
right?
They weren't, and I think so. The last episode was the Imperials not knowing their arse from their elbows. The next episode will be the Imperials, being fully in and the Empress basically knowing where Michael comes from,
right?
Basically telling her, where the Imperial's birthright,
right? So they're gonna have the upper hand because they know,
yeah.
But Michael doesn't know that they know, right? So they're gonna still try to maintain their cover, but then eventually it's gonna be like a trap or something, and they're gonna escape in the end. But it's just the fun part is finding out how, and like character-wise, just seeing how she deals with the person that is her mentor, but just like a warped version of her, and it's just all those emotions are gonna flood, and I don't know.
Well, I don't think it's a trilogy. It might be. This arc might take us to the end of the series.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Oh, it definitely will. I don't think there's gonna be anything else beyond this, right? So it's gonna take to the end of the series for them to escape, and everything to be hunky dory.
Yeah. So obviously you've got the other Stamets and things like that. Everything's kind of just starting, as it were. So
what do you think is gonna happen to fuck our beloved Klingon?
Obviously, you have to bring in the girl Klingon into it, right?
Yeah.
You have to. And obviously, Fox is going to escape and probably cripple the Discovery, right in front of the Emperor's ship or something. And the girl Klingon and that Fox are going to probably do something or something like that. And then
he's gonna have to choose in the end.
Probably, yeah.
He'll probably choose love, because that's how it.
With the girl Klingon, yeah.
I was gonna say with Burnham, he's gonna be human in the end, and it's gonna be a thing. He's gonna be half Falk, half Tyler. It's gonna always be a thing. I don't know.
That would be shit.
Or he could just die.
I don't know.
Because if he sides with the bad guys, he might die eventually, right? Because other Klingons aren't gonna accept him as their leader, right? He's gonna be wearing this human face. They're not gonna accept him.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
That would be interesting.
I figure I was happy for them to kill him, to be honest, when they're going to beam him out into space and freeze him to death or whatever.
They did need a way to smuggle that data. It does make sense in some sense.
I don't think you can last 5 seconds in space. For you to think about what you've done for 5 before you're beamed back.
Yeah, they could have just waited for him to. But then Saru said Starfleet protocol says they let him live, so whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I don't think you can live as long as that. I think just the air itself, you just get all your air sucked out of your body and you die like in under a second. I don't know.
We need Neil deGrasse Tyson to watch this episode so he can tweet about all the things that are unscientific.
Oh, did you read? Like, apparently he just looks at Wikipedia and then tweets.
Oh, does he? He's a fraud.
Apparently, maybe because apparently some people were like saying like the things he was tweeting about just happened to be the things on Wikipedia front page that day. No, but I wouldn't know. But yeah,
he's very charismatic and he's a good spokesman for science, even if he looks
Definitely.
up everything on Wikipedia. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that. I could just look at Wikipedia and go, "Did you know
Yeah.
that the sun has 3 times?"
I'd believe you. I'd believe you're an astrophysicist.
Definitely, yeah. So, yep, I think the episode was good. You thought it was too twisty.
Yeah, I did think it was a little too twisty, but I just felt it could have been more spread out, but I like the direction it's taking, more or less.
Nice.
All right.
Okay, cool.
I think that's all for this week. Tune in next week when we once again tell the writers what to do, because they're obviously listening.
All right. See you guys.
That's what I do whenever some kind of electronics doesn't work. I just pull the plug and then put it back in again because I'm not going to be able to figure anything else out. It's the only hope.
Yeah, 90% of problems are fixed by, like, switching it off and switching it back on again. Apart from, like, illness. If you switch someone off and then on again, they probably won't turn on again.
Yeah.
Probably not the best thing to do.
You could try it just once and see.
I mean, you're only really going to get one shot at it, aren't you? At the end of the day.
If you have multiple people who are dying. Okay, that's getting kind of morbid.
Getting dark. We're not even a minute in, Kris. We're getting dark. Damn, 2018's off to a great fucking start. So I keep on looking away from the microphone. I've stopped hitting the microphone now, I think.
Oh, made an improvement.
But now I just keep on, like, spinning around in my chair instead. I have to do something. I don't like sitting still.
You
It
get
upsets
fidgety.
me.
You're one of those people.
Yeah, it doesn't help that I've been drinking way more coffee than usual as well.
See, I'm like the opposite, where any extra movement is extremely tiring, and I just want to go to sleep after that.
Nah, I'm a jittery person.
Yeah. Well, I'm a jittery
jitter.
person if you tell me to sit still. Like, if I go to
Hey,
one
Kris!
of those, like...
Kris!
No, don't do it.
Sit still!
If I go to one of those, like, fucking, like an optometrist, right? And I have to sit in the chair and, like, wear that, whatever, that fucking, helmet or whatever, they use to test your eyes, I will start shaking. I don't know why. It's like I cannot sit still.
What kind of helmet is this? I've never had an eye test like that.
Well, it's not a helmet. It's that thing that goes over your eyes, and then they say, is this one or this one clearer? Like A or B or whatever.
They're called glasses, Kris.
No, it's not glasses. It's this big
Yeah,
contraption.
they put some really, really weird frames on your face.
No,
Do we
it's
do
a
optometry different
contraption.
over here? No, here we have well, at least all the eye tests that I've ever had, they give us some really weird, fun-looking glasses, and then they put them on our face, and then they swap lenses in and out, and then like, do you prefer this one or
Here,
this one?
I have a picture. It's an entire contraption. And then they swap the lenses.
What the
they rotate
fuck?
the lenses. Yeah. It's this
What the
big
fuck is
contraption.
that? What the fuck is that?
It's technology,
Yeah.
Alice. It's the future.
1 second. Optometry.
So you guys actually like
Glasses.
so when you go to the optometrist, they have to have 100 pairs of glasses, and they just
Well,
keep
for
swapping them?
starters,
'Cause this thing has,
we call
just
them
a couple of
opticians.
lenses, and you can adjust it, right?
I found the image. We call them opticians, by the way, here. Cultural
Hello?
differences, man. Hello?
Did you just cut off?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay. The
Here you
previous
go.
page is sending you to. Oh, okay, that's a lot less involved. It's similar.
It's so cute.
See, this looks like it's 1960s Doctor Who, whereas mine looks like it's 1980s Doctor Who. It's mine's is more like the American version is more cyberpunk. This is like kind of quaint. Like it's something that you would like wear in the 60s.
Yours is the really weird 80s movie starring Paul McGann,
Yes.
and ours is fucking Sylvester McCoy.
Sure, I have no idea what those names mean, but I'm gonna
Paul
take your word
McGann
for it.
is the 8th Doctor, and Sylvester McCoy is the 7th Doctor.
Oh, there was a 20-year period between doctors.
Pardon?
There was a 20-year period between doctors.
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, between 8 and 9. But 8 only starred in, like, one movie.
Oh, yeah. Who's 9?
Christopher Eccleston.
Are you sure
How-
7 didn't eat him?
Oh, for fuck's sake! Chris! Oh my god! Why do you do this to me? Oh my god, you're such a dickhead! Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think that was funny. It was a dad joke. But,
It was the fact it took me so long to pick
Okay.
up on it.